computer. Okay, good. Hi, it's recording. Excellent. I just want to make sure that if I get any other participants that gets seen there. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, hi. My name is Meggin Anderson. I've been your host this week. A lot of you guys know me already. You're in some of my groups. There's a possibility that there's a little crossover here, so I'm excited about that. So again, I've got some notes on either side of me here. I have a couple different topics that I want to cover, and I wanted to make sure that I had all at my fingertips. And so I wanted to come in and do this 30-minute seminar to talk to you guys. I know that we talk an awful lot about nutrition and meal planning and fitness and what that looks like. And a lot of times we really don't think about where we need to be as far as our headspace is concerned before we even get into that stuff, right? Because believe it or not, 80% of the equation is nutrition, 20% is your exercise, 100% is your mindset, okay? So I feel like there's a lot of things that we need to kind of cover before we even get started, before you even jump into one of my groups and start working with me. Okay, I'm just gonna put on the do not disturb because this is gonna annoy me if I keep hearing dinging. Okay, so the first thing that I want to cover with you guys are 5 things that you might need to think about or prepare yourself for before you start inside of one of my groups. So number 1, you need to have patience with yourself, okay? So we have to remember that it's not a quick fix. It's never going to be a quick fix. If you've seen someone out there on Facebook or social media that has a quick fix, probably not, okay? There's no pills, there's no potions, there's no shakes, there's no wraps, there's no nothing that's going to happen like that, okay? So you have to take a step back and have some patience with yourself and realize that it is actually going to take some time to get to the result that you want. And you have to just be okay with that, okay? The people that you see out there in your feeds that have big muscles or that have a six-pack, they worked at it, okay? And it didn't happen in a week, it didn't happen in even 30 days. I mean, you make traction every single day. You make good choices, but the bottom line is that is how you are going to get to that place and reach your goals, is by taking it one small step at a time, one small choice at a time, one small thing at a time, and being consistent at that, okay? Number 2 is ditching the all or nothing perfectionism theory or mindset, okay? This one is so huge. I have to chuckle every time I hear it because people are like, I'm going to fail. I can't join your group because I'm going to fail. Like, what are you going to fail at? Like, it's all or nothing. It's black and white. And that's so further from the truth. Nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as being perfect, okay? You have to think about the fact that there is going to be a learning curve, okay? I did not come out of the gate and know everything, for sure. The coaches that you see surrounding me, they did not start knowing. We are not born knowing this stuff. It takes books, it takes articles, it takes experience, okay? And when I say that to you about the ditching all or nothing, right, we have to think about failing as being a good thing, okay? Because we are going to fail. There are going to be bad days. You're going to fall and eat bad stuff and make bad choices, but that's okay because that's how we get better. And if you're not failing, then I would say that there's something wrong, okay? Because you eventually are going to hit that wall or something's going to stop you, and then you'll just revert back to all this bad behavior. So you need to think about it as being okay with failing, being okay with not being perfect, because nobody is. There's no such thing. And the cool thing about the groups is that we do have lots of failures because we don't look at it like that, right? This weekend I definitely participated in Thanksgiving and cocktails and things. But you know what? Here's an actually real assessment of what happened over the last 24 hours. I'll tell you, this is a really good one. And this has taken me a while to learn, okay? But because I've been on such a mostly clean and healthy lifestyle for so long, when I couple sweets and alcohol, I wake up in the middle of the night and my heart is racing and I have stomach pains. And it's from the way that my body is processing the sugar in my body. So like last night I had a couple of Cosmopolitans and then we had some Christmas cookies. We didn't have a really substantial dinner, mostly munchies and just junk. And so I paid for it. Like in the middle of the night, my heart was pounding. I didn't really think that I was going to throw up, but I was like, it was racing inside of me. And I know from experience that it's because of the way that alcohol processes in my body at night. And so like, for example, I could eat a cookie or two and go to bed and be fine. But when the alcohol gets in my system, that's a whole nother experience. I actually woke up this morning and was like, you know what? I think I'm actually going to give up alcohol because I don't really need it. Like, what's the point? If it makes me feel like ass and I'm not waking up in the middle of the night. Like, think about that, right? That is an experience that I've had to go through several times to finally be like, why bother? And it's not getting me any closer to my goals when I make choices like that, right? But if we don't have those learning experiences, then how will you know? How will you know how to get better? How can you, make smart choices, right? Unless you go through that stuff. Okay. So ditching the all or nothing perfectionism mindset. Okay. Number 3 is the willingness to tap into self-love. So self-development is going to lead to weight loss. Okay. Hold on. We have an attendee. Let's see who it is. It's Sherry. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to get you on here, Sherry. Are you here?
Maybe.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So I can't see you. Was in the middle of one of the things, but I saw that you came on, so I wanted to make sure to get you on here.
Okay.
So if you have questions, let me know. Cool. Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry. I was into tapping into self-love, the willingness to tap into self-love. So I think a lot of times we think about self-help or self-development as like this foofy Dr. Phil thing. I know that's what I thought myself when I first started on my journey, when the suggestion was made to participate into self-development, personal development and things like that. But the thing about personal development is it helps you to enhance your confidence. And I am online, dude. I knew this was going to happen. Did I not say that I didn't preface a kid that I was doing this? So they're going to come in and start talking to me. Okay. Go back to your Xbox. So the thing about personal development is that's really just it. It is personal to you. So those things that we need to work on individually, like fear of failure, no confidence, no self-esteem, those are those kinds of things, right? Or maybe you're looking to be a better parent, or you're looking to improve something else in your life that's going haywire. For me, I've been all over the place in terms of that. I've started to add devotionals and listening to uplifting podcasts that are faith-based. I've also read a lot of books on like budgeting because I stink at money and want to get better at that. So it's not just about developing for your weight loss and things like that. It's developing your mindset so that you can be thinking and be in that right place with your thoughts and the whole process, because all that other stuff is going to follow. Once you're right in how you're feeling about your confidence and that sort of things, everything else kind of falls into place. So you have to be in you have to be open and willing to take time for yourself. And self-development isn't all that there is. That's a big part of it, because I feel like people put up that wall. But taking care of yourself, taking time for yourself, you know, whether it's getting yourself a massage, taking a day off to stretch, go get a pedicure, you know, read a really good book. We just talked about that, listening to something, you know, being alone on the beach or your favorite place, stuff like that. Okay. So being open and willing to tap into self-love and taking care of yourself. Okay. Number 4 is kind of taking on a childlike curiosity and throwing everything that you know about dieting out the window. Okay. Because there are so many crazy things happening out there all over the place. It's so hard, no wonder, to know what is going to work best for you. Okay. So you have to take out all of those things that you know and just pretend that you're starting from square one, learning things from step one. I think most often times that's probably really hard for a lot of people, especially if they've been trying to do the health and the fitness thing for so long, and they're like, it's not working for me. I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. Okay, so if those things aren't working for you, then guess what? We need to try something else, and we need to basically go back to basics. Okay, so the willingness to throw everything that you know about dieting or whatever you've done in the past out the window. Okay. Number 5 is the willingness to do time blocking. So, taking, you know, the mindset of being able to take your day and dissect it so that you can plug in those things that are going to be your priorities, right? Taking into account like those must-do things, right? But then also making sure that you're getting your self-love and your exercise and your meal planning and all those things, you know, in line with your day as well. So, you know, having those 5 things, I think that they're just so super important, because you need to just make sure that you have this openness about you before you start something new, before you jump into one of our groups, before you get started on a plan. Because if you are not open and you're not receptive to change and you're not changing your mindset, then you can pretty much just say that, you know, that's never going to be something that's going to work for you, because you've already blocked out some of those things, right? All right, I'm just going to go real quick here and see if anyone had any questions. Sherry, I unmuted you, so I don't know if you have any questions at this point before I go on to something else.
No, that's good.
That's good. Okay. All right. So the next kind of thing that I want to talk to you guys about is it's kind of about, you know, decision making, emotional eating, some things that you can be aware of, and it's called the AWARE formula. 5 steps basically to emotional eating. And I know that this is a huge one for most people, because they need to wrap their head around the idea of, okay, I am ready and open and willing to start. And I am ready and open, willing to work on myself. But what happens when I encounter some of these like really difficult situations? And I just can't help myself when this happens or when that happens, or if there's a stress, or what happens if somebody dies, or what if work gets bad? And those are things that always stop us, right? Or we going along really well, and then this like bump in the road happens, right? So part of that is learning about yourself, right? And being aware of your surroundings and your triggers and the things that you need to think about. And I love this formula because I actually do find myself saying and asking these questions to myself to make sure before I make a bad decision, you know, or before I, you know, go say like in a stressful situation or whatever. Okay. So the 5 steps that can end emotional eating. This is really awesome. So for the first one is to become aware of your eating behaviors. looking at what is going on in your life, and thinking about, the feelings, the places, the people, or the events that trigger some of these things, right? So stress, loneliness, boredom, anger, frustration, sadness, feeling ignored, feeling unloved, feeling worthless, overworked, overwhelmed, tired, exhausted. There's financial challenges. We have relationship challenges. There's holidays, there's parties, there's weather, right? Comfort food. Everyone's all about that. Or maybe for you, it's restaurants. So these ones would be mine. Buffets, restaurants, food in the kitchen, food in the office, the smell of food, the sight of food, the refrigerator. That's when I get in trouble. People offering you food, people eating around you, the time of day, the time of month, right? That's a popular one. Commercials on TV, that's another one that gets me too. Going to the movies, oh, that's a big one for me too. Your mom's cooking, your spouse is cooking, like that kind of stuff, right? So thinking about or being aware of those things that trigger you the most. Like I could go through this list and be like, oh, all those things when I'm out. I don't eat when I'm stressed or sad or upset, but I do think about food when we go out. Like I'm always thinking, the kids are like, let's go to the movies. I'm like, we have to have popcorn. Well, why do we have to have popcorn? Because we've never gone to a movie without having popcorn, but that's not a rule. I just made that up, right? Like think about stuff like that. Okay, so once you've identified those triggers, then your goal is to remove the ones that you can control and prepare your defenses for those that you don't. Okay, so you kind of have to pick your battles there, right? Like how convenient is it? Because convenience is going to lead to mindless eating. So if it's there, you can't eat it, right? And I always say that too. If it's not in the house, that I can't eat it. I always have that rule when it's not the holidays. Anyways, we always say to the kids, dessert's going to be on the weekends, and we're going to do it this way. So if it's not in the house, we can't eat it. There are things that you can like talk to yourself about, right? You can say, it's not about eating with family. It's about being with family. It's not about losing the freedom to what I want. It's not about being a slave to food, right? One of the most common triggers for emotional eating is stress, right? So think about it in this way. This is how you change your mindset. Change the way that you perceive stress. And I love that this example that I've stress is not inherently problematic. What matters is how you respond to the stress. Okay. Stress is an essential part of our life because stress is a stimulus for growth, right? If we don't have stressors in our life, then we can't grow, then we can't expand. So think about stress being okay. What's bad for me is continuous stress without any form of release. So when you start to feel that constant stress or pressure, what you really need is rest and to relax, okay? You work hard sometimes, it's stressful, so then you can relax and you can play hard and recover, okay? It's not food that I really need when I'm overstressed, it's rest and relaxation. Feeling stressed simply means that I need a better balance between stress and relaxing, right? It's just how we think about it. It's just our perception, okay? So number one was being aware. And then number two, I didn't even tell you guys the number. So number two was watch out for your emotional eating triggers. So the eating triggers were all those things that we listed, right? And then so number three is arrest those negative patterns. So basically, you're just going to intercept those negative. So as your level of awareness increases, then you can change from an unconscious eater to a conscious eater. Okay, so this gives you the opportunity to step in and stop this negative pattern before it gets out of control or before you carry it out, right? So it gives you the chance to have a conversation with yourself. I love this. I love this. I love this. So I'm thinking about eating because I'm physically hungry, or I just need some water. Or maybe if I have a big glass of water, that feeling will go away, right? Why am I thinking about eating this? What will be the immediate consequence if I eat this? What will be the long-term consequence if I eat this? What is my reward for saying no to this? Is eating this going to move me closer or further away from my goals? Is eating this worth it? Okay, so you're asking yourself all these questions before you're done with the list, you're all set, right? You probably don't want it anymore because you've talked yourself out of it. Okay, so it helps you to see the perception. It helps you to see the future of your consequences, right? Number 4 is to replace the old emotional eating behavior with a more constructive alternative. So it's not really about the food. It's about the feeling that you thought you'd get from eating, right? It's about what you feel it like food's going to do for you. So I used to believe that eating would make me feel good, but now I realize that overeating only makes me feel sluggish, bloated, and guilty. It wasn't worth it for any short-lived relief I got. What really makes me feel good is being in control and the victory I feel from becoming fitter, healthier, and better than I was yesterday. Isn't that awesome? So I feel like, like we set it up in the beginning, having been open with this mindset, like all these other things are going to fall into place when your perception changes, when you think about things differently, when you perceive yourself differently, right? When you feel that temptation of food or wanting to eat or having emotional hungers, distract yourself by doing some sort of physical activity. So remove yourself, go for a walk, go read a book or it's obvious. To me, I feel like, physical activity is huge, right? Exercise might be the best way to change how you feel and how your body feels, that mind-body connection. So emotion follows motion. When you move your body, change the way you feel. The worst thing that you can do is nothing. Okay, so think about that. Number 5 is establishing new beliefs about foods and the right reasons for eating. This is so key. And for me, this was like the icing on the cake. So I'm going to tell you too what book I'm getting this stuff out of. Like, this book helped me so much. And I love how it gets put into perspective, and I'll share the book with you guys after. It's such an awesome read. This was probably one of my first books that I read that helped me with mindset. I did not think I had an emotional eating problem until I read this book, but this helped me to really think about food in a different way. And it was the first time that I ever had that like aha moment about food. And I don't, I think that so often it's how you were, not how you were brought up, but your environment and how you're living and stuff like that, right? So those kinds of things contribute to all these thoughts and feelings, okay? So food is fuel. Food is the best medicine. Food is construction material for your body. Now, that's another big one too. When I started to read about this stuff, then I started to get interested in some of my certifications that I hold. So when I started to read about the precision nutrition, the textbooks and all that stuff, it was so cool how it comes together and you realize what food is really doing to you or not doing to you, or how poisonous it actually can be to your body. Remember how I just said to you guys about how I know eating a cookie and having the cocktails, the way that my body processes sugar, metabolizes the glycogen and all that stuff later, the glucose, that is what is making me feel so shitty in the night and my heart is racing. Those are symptoms of bad poisoning things I'm doing to my body, right? Those are signs. So food is the construction material for the body. Like, think about the things we talk about in some of our groups, the pre-workout, the post-workout. It helps you to build that lean muscle. It helps you to feel satisfied. It helps your body to run more efficiently. So like restricting and not eating and dieting and all of that kind of stuff, that's detrimental to what you are doing, right? Food stokes the fire of metabolism. How true is that, right? As soon as I got onto my January program where I started learning to feed my body every couple of hours, that was so true. My body was on fire. Just the way that we think about food and nutrition in our body, right? Fruit is nature's candy. Lean protein is the lean muscle builder. High fiber foods are nature's roto-rooter. I love that one. So if you use metaphors to describe the food you eat, write them down so then you can become aware of them and then discard the negative ones and keep the positive ones, okay? So choose things that are going to be empowering labels, right? Helps you to think about fueling your body differently. If you believed your body was a lean, fat burning machine, how do you think it might affect your attitude towards training? I know that that's huge for me. Like when I'm thinking about some of my harder workouts, like I know that having my shake and having these things in my body are only going to help me to push harder, perform better. And I know that Heather agrees because she runs and she eats totally differently when she's doing her running and stuff. So let me just, I know we're going over here a few minutes. I have one more thing to touch upon, but I'm going to see if there's questions because I feel like I was seeing things coming up in here. Maybe not. Okay, just I'll have to go and check in there in a little bit. Okay, so my last point that I wanted to include is journaling and being consistent, okay? So a big part of your success is kind of being able to reflect on what you're doing. So there's a lot of different journals out there. I'm actually really excited because the new program, the new 20-minute program that, the new 20-minute program that I have for you guys starting next month comes complete with your own personalized journal. And this is going to be so huge because not only are we going to track everything that we're eating and drinking and putting into our body, but we're going to be tracking how we feel. We're going to be tracking our mindset. We're going to be tracking, you know, how we feel before and after our workouts. We're going to be tracking about how we feel about water and the different food choices that we're making, okay? And I say that having a tracker and having a journal is important, not just for health and fitness, but for everything that you do. I actually have a journal that I use. It's mostly, I would say, for my business days, but I also track different challenges that I'm going through, and I also have blank spaces to just journal, okay? But I say that tracking is important for multiple reasons. For food, first and foremost, so you can know how foods affect you, right? So let's say you're going along and you're eating all the things that you're supposed to, and you're losing weight, and this first week is great, and you're doing awesome, and you've lost a pound, and then next week you've lost the next pound, and then the third week comes around, and then all of a sudden you're gaining a pound, okay? So if you're journaling what you're writing, you can look back and be like, okay, so I had some extra sodium this time, and maybe giving you examples for me, like if I have too much sodium, or if I have, for some reason, there's that frozen spinach in the bag that bloats me. And so different things affect your body in a different way. So by tracking the foods that you're eating, you can say, okay, I'm bloated because I ate this, or I'm not losing weight because there's too much sodium. And then as soon as you change those things, the next week you're losing again, right? Or whatever your goals are, okay? So that's important for the food aspect. Water is so huge for people don't even realize how important water is half the time. Okay, so we should be drinking half our body weight in water. It helps things move through our body. It helps us, be able to go to the bathroom and cleanse and all of those kinds of things. Helps you to lose weight. It just helps everything to work in that, efficient order. So if you're not tracking because you're not in the routine of it, then that's why you need to track. So tracking your water, tracking your sleep. Your sleep is huge for tracking too. Sometimes your Fitbit will say how many hours you should be doing, like 7 or more hours a night. I realize for some people that's difficult, but try and do your best. Try and go early. And those are also things that we're going to talk about inside of the group. We talked about being open to time blocking and learning more about that. So showing you how to get more sleep is something that we will help you with in that group. And this program, this 20-minute program, it's going to, that I'm coming out with, is going to include that in the tracker as well. So that is really exciting. Okay. You're writing down your fitness, what you did, how you felt. Did you lift harder weights? Was it too easy? Whatever, like those kinds of things. Right. And so then you can always look back and say, look at yesterday I did this. Today I'm going to do better. I'm going to be and you're going to be better every single day because you're watching yourself grow on paper. And you made a bad choice and you ate cookies. So today we're going to make better choices. And then this is how we're going to be successful. Making those consistent entries, we're working consistent, we're drinking our water consistent. So journaling and being consistent and paying attention to how you feel and your sleep and your self-care and your personal development. And we're quite literally going to be transforming our mind and our bodies from the inside out, right? Talked about 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, 100% is how we believe in ourselves, how we think about ourselves, and what's going to make us tick, what's going to make us be successful is all of those thoughts. Okay. So that's kind of all I had for you guys today. I mentioned a couple of times the 20-minute program that I've got coming out next month. Next month is actually like a week away. Still getting the preliminary details. I'm putting those together, but I'm going to have, the program is going to be 6 weeks, but we are going to do some prep before that. So we're going to start this group technically in January, but we'll start prepping in December. And so as the details unfold on the specifics of physically what you'll be doing, the groups themselves will be inclusive of one-to-one coaching with me and meal plans. Nutrition is always included, helping you every step of the way, having a convenience nutritionals like Shakeology, helping you, your body, all the things that we talked about, fueling your body with the right things, the concepts of personal development, and then having the group and the support of that fit family community. It's a total health and fitness solution that is long-term. And so all the things that we talked about, having patience with yourself, ditching all or nothing perfection, these things, if you feel as though you are open and willing to all of those things that we talked about, then you would make an excellent fit in my group starting in a couple of weeks, in a week or so. It's got to be a couple of weeks by now. Just trying to think of December 1st is like next week, right? So as I'm getting that information together, you can comment on this video, or you can send me a message, a private message, and I can give you some of the details on that. I'm actually going to be hosting an exclusive Q&A on this 20-minute program that I'm putting together for you guys next week. It will most likely be in the evening. I live on the East Coast. It will be recorded, but it's going to be in a private, exclusive private page. There's no registration or sign up or investment to be involved with the Q&A. But I do ask it if you're interested in learning more about one of the full-blown groups that you participate in this Q&A, so you can jump in, ask questions, and see exactly what it's all about to make sure that it would be a good fit for you. If you are finding success in some of our smaller mini challenges, then you can expect to see 100% success and results if you follow the step-by-step guides and instructions that I will be giving you as a part of this 6-week group. It's actually going to end up being longer than that because we're going to do some prep to get ready to start in January. But I do want you to be a participant in December so that you can get your feet wet and understand what it's all about. We're going to do some practice workouts. We're going to do some practice meal planning and prep and things like that. We're going to talk about navigating through Christmas. We're not talking about any serious, crazy goal-crushing challenges for December, although if that's your mindset, I will help you with that too. I know that December can be hard, but also fitting in 10 or 20-minute fitness exercise through the month will be ideal and perfect so that you can start with both feet in the beginning of January. So let me know if you'd like to be a part of this discussion next week. If you're interested in learning more about what the more full on groups would be a part of, and I will get you the information that you need to do that. So I don't know if you have any questions. I'm unmuting you, Sherry, if you want any questions. I'm going to look on our page to see if anyone posted anything.
What's the name of your journal?
The one that I held up is the 5-second journal.
Oh, by Mel Robbins or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right, it's from the 5-second rule, but it's the journal part, and I like it because it's not just about like your business and your day in regards to your work schedule, but it also helps me to plan my day. There's like a little mini schedule on there so I could write in stuff, It also has like a brain dump on there that like all the things that you're thinking about. But I also like the blank journaling pages too. But I like it because for me, I feel like I need a prompt. Like I love the idea of journaling, but I struggle to just come up with thoughts on my own sometimes. And I want the journal to ask me questions. And so I feel like that helps me. And then it gets me thinking about my day. So for me, I do the journal at like 5 o'clock in the morning most days, and it's either before I work out or before I teach my first class. And so, but then when I come home from class or I'm done with my workout, I'm getting my kids ready for school, but my mind is already in the right space to start my work day. So I know what I have to do first, and I feel already really organized before the day even starts. And I find that even the days where I have slept in or said, I'm going to sleep in, I'm not going to get up and journal, like the day goes to hell in a handbasket, even on the weekends. And sometimes I'll do the journaling part maybe like later in the day, but it really just helps me to like get my head on straight for what's in front of my day, no matter what day it is. So that's why I like it. Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's it. I'll post the recording for those that might have missed it. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Comment, message if you would like to be a part of learning more about the 20-minute program, 6 weeks, 6 days a week, including the self-care one of those days too, self-development. And we'll have an awesome start to the new year. I'm very excited about this. All right, guys. See ya.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.